Is prime time really about to high step out of Boulder? Let's tackle that question right now. All right, guys, let's head up Highway 36 and go to Boulder. Folsom Field is where we hope to find Deion Sanders this fall, but perhaps his talent will be taken to the NFL. That's what this entire week has been about, right? Deion first flirting with the Raiders and Tom Brady in there, and will they hire Louis Riddick? All the things that we thought might come with the Las Vegas Raiders. Well, turns out that the Raiders, they say they're not very interested in one Deion Sanders. So insert Jerry Jones, Prime's old boss, Jerry Jones in Big D. Dallas, well, they didn't re-up with Mike McCarthy, so they need a new head coach. They do have Dak Prescott on a long-term contract, so not sure that Shador is going to show up. But where are you at, Bucs fans, with all of these rumors? I'll ask you the question. Love to get your answers in the comments while you're there. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff that we would love for you to do. What percentage chance right now, as you watch this video, do you give Deion to be standing on the sidelines up at Folsom next year? 90, 95, 100? Maybe you feel that good. Maybe you're all the way down at a 50-50. Well, I'm going to tell you where I'm at. I'm at about 99% that he is back in Boulder coming up this fall. And I have a few reasons as to why. First and foremost, let's start with what he has done over the last few months. And I don't think he really wants to continue this. And that's being a helicopter parent. He did it in the bowl game. I don't know what you heard, but every time I heard Deion and his kids, speaking of Travis in this instance as well, talk about playing in the Alamo Bowl. How'd that work out, by the way? The Cougars absolutely rolled the Buffaloes. It really wasn't seemed to be like an option. It was kind of like Deion told them they were going to finish what they started, and they did that. I didn't like it then. Now, nobody got hurt, so no harm, no foul, but it didn't matter anyway. You got boat raced in the Alamo Bowl, didn't win the game, so why did they play in that game? Now you think about what this could look like. Deion has said over and over again, he doesn't want to follow his kids. He's a leader, not a follower. So now you're going to follow your kids to the pros? If it were to be Dallas, they're not going to land Shador Sanders. Shador may drop. I don't know if he's going to drop all the way down to where the Cowboys 12. I don't believe that that's where he falls. But think about this for a moment and put yourself in Shador's shoes. Heck, if you're a parent, put yourself in Deion's shoes. Would you really want to share your workspace with your pops? If you are pops, would you really want to share your workspace with your kid? I get it. It could be cool. And there's those moments, right? And you get to be like, yeah, I'm the first father-son duo to do it at this level. But think about the position you're putting your kid in. He's got to share that locker room with 52 other grown men. And then those grown men, they got to watch what they say about the coach because coach happens to be your dad. That's unfair to everybody else in the locker room. It's also unfair to Shador. I don't want my first workplace environment to have my father, because then you never really get to establish who you are, one, as a man, and two, as a professional athlete. So that's a bad look. I think Deion's smart enough to understand that. That's a big reason why I'm at 99%. Deion knows there's no such, you can't helicopter parent in the NFL. It's crazy that he got away with it this long. So that's a big reason why I'm at 99%. All right. Another part of this conversation is, why is Deion even doing this? Why was he flirting with the Raiders? Why is he having a conversation with Jerry Jones? Why is he telling Adam Schefter, when asked the question, hey, what's next, Deion? His answer is, quote, I don't know, end quote. Why? Is it leverage? Is it about money? Does Prime want even more from Rick George and the Colorado Buffaloes? I don't know what else you're looking for, my man. I'm sure Rick George is willing to sign any check, provide anything that he can, anything humanly possible that can be given to Deion Sanders by Rick George and the Colorado Buffaloes will be given to Deion Sanders by Rick George and the Colorado Buffaloes. So I'm not sure if it's leverage for Deion, but hear me out on this. What if it's leverage to help Deion at Colorado? So starting this year, and I'll try to explain this quickly, but not overlook anything. If you missed it, starting this year, all college programs across the United States are going to have a cap of money that they can pay their student athletes. I hate to use that term. There's no such thing anymore. They're athletes. And that cap is at $22 million. every university is going to have up to $22 million to pay basketball players, football players, softball players, hockey players, track people, all across all sports. Now, 99% of that money is going to go to basketball and football players for hoops, both men's and women's. But I've also been told that Colorado doesn't have that $22 million just chilling, and it'll eventually come with revenue sharing and TV rights and all that stuff. So you'll get there. But could it be a leverage play for that? Deion knows he's got to win in the transfer portal. How do you win in the transfer portal? You offer a young man a bag that they can't say no to. So maybe it's a little bit of that leverage. And I'm trying to hold on to that to get me to that healthy 99% that I'm talking about, that Deion is back up in Boulder. And I wouldn't be mad about that at all. Get your money. Use leverage in any instance that you can, because in life, in sports, whatever it is you're talking about, very few opportunities you're going to have to use leverage in a good way to get what you want. So a little bit of me thinks it might be some of that leverage as well. And third on this list is a couple of things. It's like a two-parter on the list. One, at the NFL level, I think Deion has to know his motivating tools, his recruiting. You don't recruit at the NFL level. That's actually called tampering, and you'd be fined for that in doc draft picks. So that's not what he can bring to the NFL level. And his motivating factor. I fully believe you do not have to motivate professional athletes. You should not have to motivate professional athletes. And if you do, well, I'm going to tell you, you got the wrong one. Do I need to be motivated to do the show, right? Do you need to be motivated to get to work and show up? Or you do it because it's your job, you need a paycheck, and somebody's got to pay the damn mortgage? I think that's probably more of what it is. So that motivating stuff, that's not going to work at the pro level. In fact, I've seen it with my own two eyes. The players, they have enough cachet. They're going to make more money than you, Deion. They're going to look you right in your eye and tell you, save that nonsense. That doesn't work here. Those are for boys. We're men in this locker room. So that wouldn't work. I don't think Deion wants to put him in a position to not succeed. I don't believe Deion would succeed at the NFL level. Now, he could prove all of us wrong, like he's done most of his life, and put an awesome staff around him with an offensive and defensive coordinator that are really drawing up the X's and O's. I just don't see it. Deion's smart enough to understand his talent, it doesn't translate to Sunday. It does not translate to the NFL. And then the other layer to this, and I would imagine that Deion has had conversations with Julian Lewis. That's who comes to mind. But how about guys like Cardi Smith? How about a couple other players that come from the IMG Academy that's really turned into a nice pipeline for Colorado? How do those kids feel? More importantly, how do the parents feel? Julian Lewis, you spent a year chasing this kid from Georgia. You get him to flip, right? He goes on the Pat McAfee show, puts on the Buffs hat. The world is excited. Boulder is going nuts. What are you telling him? So if it's a leverage play that I talked about, you're transparent and you tell him, hey, I'm just trying to get some money, trying to help out the university, trying to help you out as an athlete to get you some more money, and the kid rolls with it. But is a conversation happening at all? Do you feel responsible to talk to the parents and the kids to tell them what's going on? Because if this is happening now and it's their first year of real success, what's going to happen the first time they do make the college football playoff? You think another NFL team is going to come and knocking? You think another college football team is going to come and knocking? You're absolutely right. It's going to happen. In fact, we could do this dance every year with Deion and the Buffaloes because they're going to have success. They're going to be polarizing, and people are going to put eyeballs on what Prime is doing. So recruiting, how much is it going to hurt Deion, both in the transfer portal and just the high school classes that he has to go out and get with this kind of news today? Like I said, I'm at 99% that Deion has his butt up in Boulder this fall, coaching Julian Lewis and the Colorado Buffaloes with a chance to win the Big 12 title. But what say you, Buffs Nation? Like I said, let me know in the comments. Leave your comment. I'll circle back, and we'll have a conversation right there. I believe Deion is back in Boulder. I'm real confident, 99% sure that Deion is back up in Boulder. That 1%, that little sliver, it's like Jeremy Bloom tweeted. You remember Jeremy Bloom, the old Buffalo who lost millions of dollars because the NCAA was awful with how they handled their athletes back then? Jeremy Bloom put it on Twitter as this. He had no inside information, but said if a contract were to be offered by Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, Prime is pound. He's out. He's leaving. I don't believe there will be a contract offered by the Dallas Cowboys. Again, Whatever you think about Jerry Jones, I also believe Jerry Jones is smart enough to know that Deion's skill set does not translate to the NFL. So I'm 99% sure that Prime is back up in Boulder. What's your percentage? Tell me in the comments, and I'll talk to you on YouTube. This has been Dover on Denver, and now I'm done.